That was Stephen Rask playing the piano, and he's going to become our cameraman.
All right. How's it going today, everyone? This is the Piano Doctor Show. I'm Joshua Ello, registered piano technician, and this is my dad, Mike Ello, registered piano technician.
And today we're going to share with you about dampers. If you come over here, we're going to show you that whenever you play a key, see this piece of felt? It's called the damper. And after you play a note, the damper cuts off the string. Otherwise it would keep ringing like this. It would never stop. But with the damper, it cuts off the note. And occasionally this felt gets too hard, or it gets torn or worn out. And so today we're at Hardy Piano Warehouse today, and we're going to show you how these dampers can be replaced. So we're going to go downstairs. We're in an upstairs showroom. Why don't you show all the pianos up here? So you can see we have all kind of pianos for sale up here. This is Hardy Piano Warehouse in Houston area. But we're going to go downstairs now to the shop. So follow us. So we're at the Hardy Piano Warehouse piano shop, and you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Marcellus Renner. I've been working here at Hardy Piano since 1993. Rebuilding pianos, started out as a mover, and so here we are rebuilding stuff that's either old or almost brand new.
I wanted to show them how this piano here, they've actually pulled out the dampers. As you can see, this piano here doesn't have any dampers in it right now. It's got the nice, beautiful strings, new stringing job, but Marcellus is going to put new dampers in, and he's going to show you how it's done.
Let me show first what has to get done first. All these this is called the piano, the damper guide rail bushings. Those little felts, they all get replaced. That's what guides the hammers, the dampers I mean, on the strings. It centers them so that they don't wobble around. And then here we have the dampers all numbered. They've all been cleaned and the wires are polished. The old felt is taken off. And so what we're going to do is pull the action out, and first is we're going to install, this is what they call the back action or the damper action. This is the mechanism where the dampers get lifted from. This gets in touch with the back of the key, so when you push the key down, the back of the key comes up and then pushes the lever up. And we've replaced this felt underneath it. This piano is about from 1928, so it's pretty old. And so what we're going to do now is take the cheek blocks out, and we'll put this action on the workbench. Let's see if I can break a hammer off. Can you help me? No, I got it. So what I'm going to do now is just put this action around so that y'all can see what lifts the damper action up. So all these little felts, when you press down the key, these will come up. And when the hammer is a little over halfway up, that's when the damper should start lifting. So there's a little bit of gap. You don't want, you need a little bit of play in there for the hammer to be able to travel before that action comes up. Okay. So now on a Steinway, the reason we're showing this because they're real easy to do. It's just two little wooden blocks with pins on the side and a couple of screws. So what we do is we leave the little block on that side in. I hope there's enough light in there.
Yeah, there is.
And let's see if, let me get this in there. Okay, that's in on that side. Let me get this little block in. And let me get a screwdriver to screw that in. So there's one screw here at the end. And we've already polished the little brass rod and put a little piece of leather underneath so that it doesn't squeak. And this now works. Goes up and down.
Push the pedal again.
And what goes behind here is a damper stop rail, which I'm just going to lay in there for now just so you see where it goes, what it does. So this goes up in here and that keeps the dampers from going up too high. And you want to make sure you always put this in first before you start putting your dampers in, because once you got your dampers in and you forget that rail, you got to take them all back out.
Somebody asked a question, how many components comes in a regular piano? How would you answer that?
You're looking at about 10,000 parts, more or less. If you look here on the side, it's kind of almost like each key has its own, almost like clockwork. So you have the key, then you have your whipping mechanism, which allows for the escapement, and then you have your hammer, shank, and flange, which that in itself is a whole bunch of parts. You got screws, you got bushings, you got pins. These are actually individual parts that can be changed out. The hammers can be replaced. All these little screws you see here, all those are adjustments that you can make for the action regulation. And on top of that, there's little papers that go in here to align the parts if they don't travel in a straight line. So and that's just one key, so you got 88 keys in a piano. So it's quite a bit of work when you got to do all of them. They all have to work the same.
It's awesome. Since we have more followers in the room, we're at a Hardy Piano Warehouse in Houston, Texas. You guys have a website or?
Hardy Piano, well, let me check. Gary Hardy Piano at AOL.com is the website, or hardypiano.com is the warehouse. We got pictures of pianos and everything on there.
Awesome. So you want to put that in put that action in?
Well, what I'm going to show now is how we do the timing. This tool goes up on the back and we level this with the felt. And this gap that gets created, that's our damper timing. So now this gets transferred into the piano, and that's to make sure that all these are resting on top of the tool. And then from here we start cutting the felt, which we have a little tool here that cuts everything to the same size. We got some different adjustments for different parts of the piano. And there's different types of felt for different parts of the piano. That's your unichord felt. So that's for your one string. Then everything that has two strings gets the bichord, which is a wedge that goes in between the strings.
You show them on the piano where they go.
Yeah,
That one goes in there.
and this one, this will fit in on there. And then the trichords, which are the trickiest, I'll just cut one real quick so that we can see how that fits in there. The trichord actually has a cut down the center so that it can go in between both strings. And when these dampers, when that felt gets glued onto the damper head, everything needs to be in perfect alignment so that everything touches the strings on both sides so that you don't have one or two strings ringing. So what we do is we glue let me cut one of these. So what we do is we glue this centered onto the damper, and then the damper goes into the piano. It's very important to have all the parts numbered because they go from large to small and you cannot mix them up. So then the felt will be glued underneath the damper so that when you play your piano, there's a screw here that sets it. And now when you play the key, this will come up and move the damper up. Let me get a little bit of glue under that. Just use this glue for now, I'll take it back off later. Can you get a shot of that from that side? So now when the action lifts the damper up, the felt comes with it. And you see how it twists. So there is also an adjustment that you can do to twist the damper head, turn it on its axis, or you can actually bend the head up or down to make sure that both sides are touching. And then once all the dampers are glued in, then we can start adjusting the timing a little more closer. They need to sit with some weight on it. There's a little bean bag that we use that sits on the damper, and that's to make sure that the felt compresses and lines everything up, and it keeps them steady, so that when you're screwing them in, that they don't twist, because the set screw is actually going onto the wire. When you turn that, the set screw twists the head back and forth. So this kind of keeps things steady enough to where you're really close when you're doing that. And then later on you can go in with some pliers and just turn the heads a little bit. There's also angles in the damper, because not everything, the keys aren't exactly right under the string. So what this does is this aligns things. There's 3 bends in here. There's one up here to get it away from the side of the string, because the holes are in the middle. Then there's one bend that goes back towards the center of the damper and another bend that goes down. And all these need to be in perfect symmetry to when the wire goes down, that the wire is not sideways or that it's kinked forward or backward. This one is a little off. This needs to be at a 90-degree angle. On the Steinways, sometimes they're angled a little bit to where when the damper comes off and comes back down, it kind of lands like an airplane. The back comes down first before the top does, and that's to keep the swishing noise on the piano from making too much noise when all the dampers are coming up and coming down. If they all hit the string all at the same time, you'll hear a thump. And when the dampers come down first on the back and then on the front, where it kind of lands a lot smoother, you don't get that noise. So that makes it a lot better for the piano player. And so this spring here is what returns everything. That goes in here. And that forces everything back down. That gives you a little resistance to where your pedal isn't too light. And you'll see another hole over here, and that is going to be for that's the sostenuto. There's a thing on there called a monkey. And this part will sit on top of that little dowel. And this snaps right into the back of this. I may need to undo that screw a little bit. I don't have the spring on there. There's a spring that goes back there, but you get the idea. The spring, all it does is it returns it back down. This usually gets adjusted to where if you're not hitting the keys, this will actually catch the levers. So what the key does is it pulls the levers up, and then the little lips that you saw on the damper action will catch on here. And that is what makes the sostenuto work.
Let me point out those lips. These red tabs.
Yeah, these little red tabs here. Let me get this up because it's pushing everything forward.
And then we're going to close this one out pretty soon.
These red tabs right here.
That lever, what it does is, if you're not hitting the sostenuto, let's take this as an example for the sostenuto. What this does is it'll swing and miss the little red tabs when you're not playing the key. When you're playing the key, this gets lifted up and the sostenuto lever will catch the tabs that are higher than the other ones. Or if you're hitting the damper pedal, they'll all come up, and then it just grabs all the tabs. But the sostenuto only grab the tabs of the keys that are lifted up. And you'll only see that in grand pianos. There's very few uprights that have a sostenuto. There are some that have it, but you hardly see it on uprights, and that's kind of what makes grand pianos unique.
Okay, so that's our little episode on dampers today. I want to point out, as always, that if you go to this website, can you see it okay?
Yes.
And this will take you to the home page of the Piano Technicians Guild. You go to the top right hand corner, it'll say find a registered technician. You click on that, you put in your zip code, and it'll tell all the registered technicians in your area. And you have anything else you want to share?
Just thank you for joining us. Please retweet and share. This is going to be a regular occurrence, hopefully every weekend. So just follow us. Usually we try to broadcast around 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We also want to honor and thank Hardy Piano Warehouse for allowing us in their shop. And you guys check out the Piano Technicians Guild for all your piano needs, and check out ellopianoservice.com. And you guys, hope you have a good rest of your day, and take care.
Bye-bye.